Why do fit people get sick? It's a really good question. It's a really good question. We hear it time and time and time again. And when you understand, or when you hear what I'm about to talk about, I think you'll grasp a bit better of why it can happen and why it actually happens relatively often, too often than what we'd like for it to happen. Now, if you think of fitness, so fitness does not equate to healthiness. It is an important component of it, but it's not it by itself. So we need many other components to make up a healthy person. All right, so we've got fitness. Now these top three that I'm talking about, so when I say top three, it's not the priority, it's just the first three I'm talking about. Fitness, strength, and mobility, or what I prefer to talk about is adaptability rather than mobility. So fitness, strength, and adaptability, and by those things I mean physically, but I also mean mentally as well. So mental strength, mental fitness, and mental adaptability. The other components are belief. You might say, what's belief got to do with health? Everything. The way you view the world, all right, if you're angry all the time, you're loving all the time, you're in a fearful state all the time, and you interpret things different ways, it has a massive impact on what's going on in your health and in your body, all right? Mindset and physically. Fulfillment and purpose. People that live in their life with purpose are a lot more likely to be fulfilled, and if they're contributing to the community, they're going to feel that fulfillment back, contributes to a much healthier body. Self, or what we call self-personal energy, and most importantly, having a healthy relationship with yourself is critical to A1 health. Nutrition, and when I talk about nutrition, it's not just the food and the drinks that you take in, it's everything else that you're taking in as well. It's the things that you're nourishing your body and your mind with. That might be what you're reading, what you're watching, who you're listening to. So nutrition's a valuable part of health as well. Your environment is critical. Okay? So a simple way to think about it, if you're living in pollution, it's going to damage your health. All right? Now, that might not be just pollution environment, that might be a toxic environment as well. So you might be living with people that are emotionally draining, or they're angry all the time, or that sort of thing. That's going to have an impact on your health. Community is the other thing. So your connection to community, time and time again, and I think people are starting to feel it now, isolation and disconnection from community is not good for physical health, not good for mental health. And you can see how they're both interrelated, all right? You look after one, it really helps with the other, and vice versa. In the coming days and weeks, we're going to talk to you about another principle of the Carmody method that we've touched on. We've already talked about values in the past. If you haven't seen that, go back and have a look at that video. One of the other principles we talk about is what we term the energy budget. And the energy budget dives into all this area, and it gives you some real strategy so you can get some balance and you make sure you're working on all these areas consistently without overwhelming yourself so you can have optimal health. That's what it's about. So we've got to look at the energy budget across the whole. So I think you can quickly see just from that explanation, I'm going to go into a little bit more detail in a sec, but just from that explanation how fitness is only one part of being a healthy self, a healthy person physically and mentally. The common thing we see with some really fit people is they tend to overdo it, and it's often endurance athletes. I'm not picking on endurance athletes, but it's just something that we need to be aware of, and this is the evidence, and this is the science, and the strong evidence. So it's not just me giving an opinion on whether I think endurance is good or bad. I think endurance has got a massive place to play, particularly as an athlete, but in everyone's life. People that are super fit overdo it. Okay, so we know that 45 minutes plus of exercise generally evokes a stronger stress response, so you're going to get more cortisol in your body. So if you're continually working out for 45 minutes, longer than 45 minutes over and over and over again, you're going to have a lot more cortisol in your body, which means, without getting too scientific about it, we're going to be in more of a catabolic state, which our body's breaking itself down. What actually happens is people forget about this. It's not the exercise, it's not the strength movement, it's not going for the run. That's not the place where you get fitter and stronger. It's when you're resting and you're recovering that you get fitter and stronger. Your body then gets a chance to adapt to the stimulus that you've given to it. Right? It gets a reason to get stronger or fitter, but it needs space, time, and nourishment for that to happen. If we don't give it sufficient of all of those three things, then it's going to be constantly in a breakdown state. It's going to be under stress. Inflammation is going to go through the roof. You know what happens then? You've got a lot more pressure on the lymphatic systems getting driven really hard. It's going to get overburdened, which means the immune system is going to be under the pump. Which, what does that mean? It means you're vulnerable. It means you're vulnerable to viruses. It means you're vulnerable to getting run down and getting sicknesses. Another really common area we see with people that are overdoing it in the fitness or the strength element, and they're just working out all the time and they're smashing themselves over and over again, is, you'll hear Kirsty talk about this a lot, is we're looking to either numb a feeling or fill the void or push something away by suffocating it with something else. So we go into the gym and we'll smash ourselves out because we don't want to deal with what's going on in other aspects of our life. It might be that we have an average relationship with ourselves, or not a relationship with ourselves, not a caring and a loving one. It might be that our partner relationship is not so great, and when we're angry with that, we might be angry at the world. So it might be a bit of a that to the world to go and punish the body and go, I'm in control and this is an area I can control, stuff you. Some of those sort of things, and that happens a lot and a lot and a lot. So people not dealing with things, and I know this is a tough thing to approach, because we often people will numb things, whether it's with alcohol, whether it's with drugs. A lot of people will do it with exercise and a workout, so that's something to be aware of as well, because we overdo, and this is the whole point of what we're talking about here, we overdo the fitness stuff. We're going to be vulnerable to actually bad health. So fitness can be a great tool for optimal health, done with balance, done with strategy, and done with some smarts. Without that, it can flip over and it can be the damaging thing. So we need to be aware of that. And that's a big reason why we introduced the Carmody method. And it's also a really important reason why you work with a coach or someone that can provide a strategy for you, because when you get emotionally involved in things in life, which is all of us, it's really hard to get a rational thought or to keep a rational control over what's going on, and whether we're actually making the right moves, and whether we're doing enough or not or doing too much, which is often the case. Hopefully after hearing that, you can then get a real picture on why balance is so important. Balance, but also having an understanding and having an overarching strategy as well. And as I just touched on, having a coach or working with some experts that are very versed in these fields is really, really important and can have significant effect on your life. So now more than ever, I think people are a lot more aware of that. So please, if you've got any questions on this sort of stuff, or if it strikes a chord, give me a thumbs up, like for the video, or please send me some comments. If you want some more information on this sort of stuff, reach out and we're more than happy to give. Have an awesome day, guys.